Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. We're going to continue our reading from chapter 2 of Antya Lila, Chastisement of Junior Haridāsa. Ukam karoti vachalam pangum langhate girim yat kripatamam vande Shri Gurum Deen Tarinam Parmanand Madhavam Shri Jataneshwaram Hariyam Tatsat. Verse 118. Durvare Indriya kare Vishay Grahan Daravi Prakriti Hare Munerapi Mana. So strongly do the senses adhere to the objects of their enjoyment that indeed a wooden statue of a woman attracts the mind of even a great saintly person. Purport: the senses and the sense objects are so intimately connected that the mind of even a great saintly person is attracted to a wooden doll if it is attractively shaped like a young woman. The sense objects, namely form, sound, smell, taste and touch, are always attractive for the eyes, ears, nose, tongue, and skin. Since the sense and the sense objects are naturally intimately related, sometimes even a person claiming control over his senses remains always subject to the control of sense objects. The senses are impossible to control unless purified and engaged in the service of the Lord. Thus, even though a saintly person vows to control his senses, the senses are still sometimes perturbed by sense objects. Verse 119. Matra swasra duhitra va na viviksano bhavet balavan indriya gramo vidvamsam api karshati. One should not sit closely with one's mother, sister, or daughter, for the senses are so strong that they may attract even a person advanced in knowledge. Purport by Srila Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. This verse appears in the Manu Samhita 2.215 and Srimad Bhagavatam 9.19.17. Verse 120. Kshudra Jiva Sab Markat Vairagya Kariya Indriya Charana Bule Prakriti Sambhashya. There are many persons with little in their possession who accept the renounced order of life like monkeys. They go here and there, engaging in sense gratification and speaking intimately with women. Purport: one should strictly follow the regulative principles, namely no illicit relationship, no meat eating, no intoxication, no gambling, and in this way one should make progress in spiritual life. If an unfit person sentimentally accepts vairagya or takes sannyas but at the same time remains attached to women, he is in a very dangerous position. His renunciation is called markat vairagya, or renunciation like that of a monkey. The monkey lives in the forest, eats fruit, and does not even cover itself with a cloth. In this way it resembles a saint. But the monkey always thinks of female monkeys and sometimes keeps loads of them. This is called markat vairagya. Therefore, one who is unfit should not accept the renounced order of life. One who accepts the order of sannyas but again becomes agitated by sensual disturbances and talks privately with women is called dharma dhvaji or dharma kalanka, which means that he brings condemnation upon the religious order. Therefore, one should be extremely careful in this connection. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur explains the word markat to mean restless. A restless person cannot be steady, therefore he simply wanders about gratifying his senses just to get praise from others, to get cheap adoration from his followers or people in general. Such a person sometimes accepts the dress of a sannyasi or Babaji in the renounced order, but he cannot give up desires of sense gratification, especially for the association of women. Such a person cannot make advancement in spiritual life. There are 8 different kinds of sensual enjoyment with women, including talking about them and thinking about them. Thus, for sannyasi, a person in the renounced order, talking intimately with women is a great offense. Srila Ramananda Rai and Srila Narottam Das Thakur actually achieved the most elevated stage of that renounced order, but those who imitate them, accepting them as an ordinary human beings, fall under the influence of the material energy, for that is a great misunderstanding. Verse 121. Etakahi Mahaprabhu Abhayantare Gela Gosanir Avesh Dekhi Sabe Mon Haila. After saying this, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu entered his room. Seeing him in such an angry mood, all the devotees fell silent. Verse 122. Aradine Sabe Meli Prabhura Charane Haridas Lagi Kichu Kaila Nivedane. The next day, all the devotees together approached the lotus feet of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to submit an appeal on behalf of Junior Haridāsa. Verse 123. Alpa Parad Prabhu Karaha Prasad Ebe Shiksha Haila Na Karibe Aparad. Haridāsa has committed a small offense, they said. Therefore, O Lord, please be merciful to him. Now he has received a sufficient lesson. In the future he will not commit such an offense. Verse 124. Prabhu kahe mor vasha nahe mor mana prakriti sambhashi vairagi na kare darshana. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, my mind is not under my control. It does not like to see anyone in the renounced order who talks intimately with women. Verse 125. Nijikarye yaha sabe chhad vritha katha punah yadi kaha ama na dekhibe hetha. You should all tend to your respective engagements. Give up this useless talk. If you speak this way again, I shall go away and you will no longer see me here. Verse 126. Ita shuni sabe nija karne hastadiya nija nija karye sabe gela ta utiya. Hearing this, all the devotees covered their ears with their hands, got up and went about their respective duties. Verse 127. Mahaprabhu madhyana karite chali gela pujana na yaye e Mahaprabhu re lila. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also left that place to perform his noon duties. No one could understand his pastimes. Verse 128. Aradina sabe parmanand puri sthane Prabhu ke prasanna kar kaila nivedane. The next day, all the devotees went to Sri Paramananda Puri and requested him to pacify the Lord. Verse 129. Tabe Puri Gosani eka Prabhu sthane aila namaskari Prabhu tanre sambrame vasaila. Paramananda Puri thereupon went alone to the residence of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. The Lord, after offering him obeisances, seated him by his side with great respect. Verse 130. Puchila ki agya kene haila agamana Haridāsa prasad lagi kaila nivedana. The Lord inquired, what is your order? For what purpose have you come here? Paramananda Puri then submitted his prayer that the Lord show favor to Junior Haridāsa. Verse 131. Shunya kahina Prabhu Shunah Gosani Sab Vaishnava Lena Tumi Rahe Aithani. Hearing this request, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu replied, my dear Lord, please hear me. It is better for you to stay here with all the Vaishnavas. Verse 132. Mor agya hai muni yan alanath ekale rahiba tahan govind matra sat. Please give me permission to go to Alalnath. I shall remain there alone. Only Govinda will go with me. Verse 133. Eta bali Prabhu yadi Govinde bulaila purire namaskar kari utiya chalila. After saying this, the Lord called for Govinda, offering obeisances to Paramananda Puri. He got up and began to leave. Verse 134. Aste vyaste puri gosani Prabhu age gela ananya kari anunay kari Prabhure ghare vasaila. In great haste, Paramananda Puri Gosani went before him and with great humility persuaded him to sit down in his room. Verse 135. Tumhar ye ichha kar swatantra Ishwara keba ki balite par tomar upar. Paramananda Puri said, my dear Lord Chaitanya, you are the independent personality of Godhead. You can do whatever you like. You can say anything above you. Verse 136. Lokahit lagi tomar sab vyavahar ami sab na jani gambhir hriday tomar. All your activities are for the benefit of people in general. We cannot understand them, for your intentions are deep and grave. Verse 137. Eta bali puri gosani gela nijasthane Haridāsa sthane gela sab bhakta gane. After saying this, Parmanand Puri Gosani left for his own home. Then all the devotees went to see Junior Haridāsa. Verse 138. Swarupa Gosani kahe shuna Haridāsa sabe tomar hita vanchi karaha vishwas. Swarup Damodar Gosani said, please hear us, Haridāsa, for we all wish you well. Please believe this. Verse 139. Prabhu hate padiya che swatantra Ishwara kabhu kripa karibena yate dayalu antara. At present, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is persisting in his mood of anger because he is the independent Supreme Personality of Godhead. At some time, however, he will surely be merciful, for at heart he is very kind. Verse 140. Tumi hatha kaile tandra hatha se badibe snan bhojan kar apne krodha yabe. The Lord is persisting, and if you also persist, his persistence will increase. It is better for you to bathe and take prasadam. In due course, his anger will automatically subside. Verse 141. Eta bali tare snan bhojan karana apna bhavan ailya tare ashvasya. Having said that, Swarup Damodar Goswami induced Haridāsa to bathe and take prasadam. After thus reassuring him, he returned home. Verse 142. Prabhu yadi yan Jagannath darshane dure rahi Haridāsa karena darshane. When Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu went to see Lord Jagannath in the temple, Haridāsa would stay a long distance away and see him. Verse 143. Mahaprabhu kripa sindhu ke pare bhujite priya bhakte dand karena dharma bujhaite. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is the ocean of mercy. Who can understand him? When he chastises his dear devotees, he certainly does so to re-establish the principles of religion or duty. Purport. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur says in this connection that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the ocean of mercy, chastised Junior Haridāsa, although Junior Haridāsa was his dear devotee, to establish that one in the devotional line engaged in pure devotional service should not be a hypocrite. For a person engaged in devotional service in the renounced order having intimate relationship with women is certainly hypocrisy. This chastisement was given to Junior Haridāsa as an example of future Sahajiyas who might adopt the dress of the renounced order to imitate Rupa Goswami and other bona fide sannyasis, but secretly have wrong connections with the women. To teach such men, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu chastised his dear devotee Haridāsa for a slight deviation from the regulative principles. Srimati Madhavi Devi was a highly elevated devotee. Therefore, approaching her to ask for some rice to serve Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was certainly not very offensive. Nevertheless, just to preserve the regulative principles for the future, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu enforced the hard and fast rule that no one in the renounced order should intimately mix with women. Had Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu not chastised Junior Haridāsa for a slight deviation, so-called devotees of the Lord would have exploited the example of Junior Haridāsa to continue the habit of wrong connections with ladies unrestrictedly. Indeed, they still preach that such behavior is allowed for a Vaishnava, but it is strictly not allowed. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is the teacher of the entire world, and therefore he enforced the exemplary punishment to establish that the wrong connections are never allowed by the Vaishnava philosophy. This was his purpose in chastising Junior Haridāsa. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is in fact the most magnanimous incarnation of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, but he strictly prohibited wrong relationships. Verse 144. Dekhi tras upajila sab bhakta gane swapne ha chadila sabe stri sambhashane. After all the devotees saw this example, a mentality of fear grew among them. Therefore, they stopped talking to women even in dreams. Purport in connection with Stri Sambhashana, talking to women, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur says that talking with women for the purpose of mingling with them for sense gratification, subtle or gross, is strictly prohibited. Chanakya Pandit, the great moral instructor, says, Matri vat paradareshu. Thus, not only a person in this renounced order or one engaged in the devotion service, but everyone should avoid mingling with women. One should consider another's wife his mother. Verse 145. E mate Haridāsera ekas vatsra gela tabu Mahaprabhura mane prasad nahila. In this way, a complete year passed for Junior Haridās, but still there was not a sign of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mercy toward him. Verse 146. Ratri aveshe prabhure dandavatahena prayagete gela kareha kichu na baliya. Thus, at the end of one night, Junior Haridās, after offering Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu his respectful obeisances, departed for Prayag without saying anything to anyone. Verse 147. Prabhupada prapti lagi sankalp karila triveni pravesh kari prana chadila. Junior Haridās had conclusively decided to attain shelter at the lotus feet of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Thus he entered deep into the water at Triveni, the confluence of the Ganges and Yamuna at Prayag, and in this way gave up his life. Verse 148. Se kshane divya dehe prabhu sthane aila prabhu kripa pana antardhane rahila. Immediately after committing suicide in this way, he went in his spiritual body to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and received the mercy of Lord. However, he still remained invisible. Verse 149. Gandharva deha gan karena antardhane ratre prabhure shunaya Geet Anye Nahi Jane. In a spiritual body resembling that of Gandharv, Junior Haridās, although invisible, would sing at night for Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to hear. No one but the Lord, however, knew of this. Verse 150. Ek din Mahaprabhu puchila bhakt gane Haridās kanha tare anha ekhane. One day Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu inquired from the devotees, where is Haridās? Now you may bring him here. Verse 151. Sabe kahe Haridās varsh purne dine ratre uthi kanha gela keha nahi jane. The devotees all replied, one night at the end of a full year, Junior Haridās got up and went away. No one knows where he has gone. While hearing Shuni Mahaprabhu Ishat, verse 152, Shuni Mahaprabhu Ishat Hasiya Rahila Sab Bhakta Gana Mane Vismay Haila. While hearing the devotees lament, Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was mildly smiling. Thus all the devotees were very much astonished. Verse 153 and 154. Ek din Jagadananda Swarup Govinda Kashishwara Shankara Damodar Mukunda Samudra Snane Gela Sabe Shune Katho Dhure Haridās Gayana Yena Daki Kantha Sware. One day Jagadananda Swarup, Govind, Kashishwar, Shankar, Damodar and Mukund all went to bathe in the sea. They could hear Haridās singing from a distant place as if calling them in his original voice. Verse 155. Manushya dekhe madhur geet matra shune govindadi sabe mile kaila anumane. No one could see him, but they could hear him singing in a sweet voice. Therefore all the devotees headed by Govinda made this guess. Verse 156. Vishadi khana Haridās atma ghat kaila se pape jani brahma rakshas haila. Haridās must have committed suicide by drinking poison, and because of his sinful act, he has now become a Brahmana ghost. Verse 157. Akarna dekhi matra shuni tara gana swarupa kahina e mithya anuman. We cannot see his material form, they said, but still we hear his sweet singing, therefore he must have become a ghost. Purport Damodar, Swarup Damodar, however, protested, this is a false guess. Verse 158. Ajanma Krishna Kirtan Prabhur Sevana Prabhu Kripa Patra Ar Kshetrara Marana. Junior Haridās chanted the Hare Krishna Mahamantra throughout his entire life and served the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Therefore, he is dear to the Lord and has died in a holy place. Verse 159. Durgati na hai tar sadgati se haya. Prabhu Bhangi Ei Pache Janiba Nishchaya. Haridāsa cannot have been degraded. He must have attained liberation. This is a pastime of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's. You will all understand it later. Verse 160. Prayag Haite Ek Vaishnav Navdip Aila Haridāsera Vata Teno Sabare Kahila. A devotee returned to Navdip from Prayag and told everyone the details of Junior Haridāsa's suicide. Verse 161. Yaiche Sankalp Yaiche Triveni Praveshila Shuni Srivasadir Mane Vismay Haila. He explained how Junior Haridas had made his resolution and had thus entered the waters at the confluence of the Yamuna and Ganges. Hearing these details, Srivas Thakur and the other devotees were very surprised. Verse 162. Varshantare Shivananda Sab Bhakta Lena Prabhure Milila Asi Anandit Hena. At the end of the year, Shivananda Sena came to Jagannath Puri as usual, accompanied by the other devotees, and thus in great happiness met Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Verse 163. Haridāsa Kanha Yadi Shrivas Puchila Swa Karma Phalbhuk Puman Prabhu Uttar Dila. When she asked Thakur inquired from Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, where is Junior Haridāsa? The Lord replied, a person is sure to achieve the results of his fruitive activities. Verse 164. Tabe Shivas Tar Vritant Kahila Yaiche Sankalpa Yaiche Triveni Praveshila. Then Shivas Thakur related the details of Haridāsa's decision and his entering the waters at the confluence of Ganges and Yamuna. Verse 165. Shuni Prabhu Hasi Kahe Suprasanna Chitta Prakriti Darshan Kailai E Prayashchitta. When Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu heard these details, he smiled in a pleased mood and said, if with sensual intentions one looks at women, this is the only process of atonement. So if the sensual intentions one look at women, this is the only process of atonement. This is what Mahaprabhu said. Verse 166. Swarupadi mili tabe vichar karila triveni prabhave Haridāsa Prabhu pad paila. Then all the devotees headed by Sarup Damodar Goswami concluded that because Haridāsa had committed suicide at the confluence of the rivers Ganges and Yamuna, he must have ultimately attained shelter at the lotus feet of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Purport Sri Bhaktivinoda Thakur remarks that after one adopts the renounced order and accepts the dress of either sannyasi or Babaji, if he entertains the idea of sense gratification, especially in relationship with a woman, the only atonement is to commit suicide at the confluence of Ganges and Yamuna. Only by such atonement can his sinful life be purified. If such a person is thus punished, it is possible for him to attain the shelter of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Without such punishment, however, the shelter of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is very difficult to regain. Verse 167. Ei mata lila kare Shachira Nandana Yaha Shuni Bhakta Ganera Yudaya Karnamana. In this way, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the son of Mother Shachi, performs his pastimes with which greatly satisfies the ears and minds of six pure devotees who hear about them. Verse 168. Apan karunya loke vairagya shikshan swabhakter gadh anurag prakriti karana. This incident manifests the mercy of Okay, I have skipped a verse. Verse 166. स्वरूपादि मिली तबे विचार करीला त्रिवेणी प्रभावे हरिदास प्रभु पड़ा पद पाइला. Then all the devotees headed by Sarup Damodar Goswami concluded that because Haridas had committed suicide at the confluence of the river Ganges and Yamuna, he must have ultimately attained shelter at the lotus feet of Mahaprabhu. Purport Bhaktivinoda Thakur remarks that one adopts the renounced order and accepts the dress of either sannyasi or Babaji. I think I have read these before, but I had some pages turning, so I will nevertheless continue. If he entertains the idea of sense gratification, especially in relationship with the woman, the only atonement is to commit suicide at the confluence of Ganges and Yamuna. Only by such atonement can his sinful life be purified. If such a person is thus punished, it is possible for him to attain the shelter of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Without such punishment, however, the shelter of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is very difficult to regain. Verse 167. E mata lila kare shachira nandana yaha shuni bhakt ganera yudaya karanamana. In this way, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the son of Mother Shachi, performs his pastimes which greatly satisfied the ears and minds of pure devotees who will hear about them. Verse 168. 168. Apan karunye loke vairagya shikshan swabhakter gadanurag prakriti karan. This incident manifests the mercy of Mahaprabhu, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, his teachings that a sannyasi should remain in the renounced order, and the deep attachment to him felt by his faithful devotees. Verse 169. Tirthera mahima nij bhakte atmashat ek lilaye karena prabhu karya panchasat. It also demonstrates the glory of holy places and shows how the Lord accepts his faithful devotees. Thus the Lord fulfilled 5 or 7 purposes by performing one pastime. Verse 170. Madhur Chaitanya Lila Samudra Gambhir Loke Nahi Bujhe Bujhe Ye Bhakt Dhir. The pastimes of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu are like nectar, and they are deep like the ocean. People in general cannot understand them, but a sober devotee can. Verse 171. Vishwas Kariya Shuna Chaitanya Charita Tark Na Kariha Tarke Habe Piparita. Please hear the pastimes of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu with faith and confidence. Do not argue, for arguments will produce a contrary result. Verse 172. Shri Rupa Raghunath Pade Yar Ash Chaitanya Charitamrit Kahe Krishna Das. Praying at the lotus feet of Shri Rupa and Raghunath, always desiring their mercy, I Krishnadas narrate Shri Chaitanya Charitamrit following in their footsteps. Purport. Summarizing this chapter, Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur says that one should derive from it the following lessons. Although Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is an incarnation of mercy, he nevertheless gave up the company of one of his personal associates, namely Junior Haridāsa. For if he had not done so, he would have taken advantage of Junior Haridasa's fault by using it as an excuse to live as devotees and at the same time have wrong connections. Such activities would have demoralized the cult of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and as a result, devotees would surely have gone to a hellish life in the name of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Second, by chastising Junior Haridāsa, the Lord set the standard for acharyas or the heads of Chaitanya cult, and for all the actual devotees. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu wanted to maintain the highest standard. Third, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu instructed that a pure devotee should be simple and free from sinful activities, for thus one can be his bona fide servant. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu taught his followers how to observe the renounced order strictly. Fourth, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu wanted to prove that his devotees are exalted and that their character is ideal. He kindly accepts his faithful devotees and teaches them how much tribulation and disturbance can be produced by even a slight deviation from the strict principles of devotional life. Fifth, by chastising Junior Haridāsa, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu exhibited his mercy toward him, thus showing how elevated was Junior Haridasa's devotion for him. Because of this transcendental relationship, the Lord corrected even a slight offense committed by his pure devotee. Therefore, one who wants to be a pure devotee of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu should give up all material sense gratification. Otherwise, the lotus feet of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu are very difficult to attain. Sixth, if one dies in such a celebrated holy place as Prayag, Mathura, or Vrindavan, one can be relieved of the reactions to sinful life and then attain the shelter of Supreme Personality of Godhead. And lastly, the seventh, although a pure or faithful devotee may fall down, he nevertheless ultimately gets a chance to go back home, back to Godhead by the mercy of the Lord. Thus end the Bhaktivedanta purpose, Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita Antya Lila, 2nd chapter, describing the chastisement of Junior Haridāsa. Thank you for joining. Hari Om Tat Sat, Hare Krishna. And today was Rath Yatra in Jagannath Puri as well. Hare Krishna. Jai Jagannath, Jai Baldev, Jai Subhadra.